started in 1973. He says Mullin Plumbing was the reason he ran for Congress in the first place.
I never planned on going to Congress, but the federal government came for our business.
It's my wife and I's livelihood. We didn't take that decision lightly. That was tough. I mean, it was a very tough decision for us. It was an emotional decision, too. I'll tell you, it was something that my wife and I shed tears over.
Mullin says he and his wife still control about a 10% stake of the company. He told me he insisted on having a hand in the business. He didn't like the thought of someone using his family's name without having a say in how it's used.
2 years ago, people started making a run at us, and we said no, and it got to the point where, as my wife says, she thinks everything in our family's for sale except her and the kids. But it's business.
Since he was elected to the House in 2013, Mullin could not use his name or likeness to advertise his plumbing business. It was against House ethics rules, and during his time in the House, he followed those rules. According to House ethics, quote, "Under no circumstances should a member be actively involved in personally selling or endorsing goods, services in which the member has a financial interest." The House Ethics Committee even praised Mullin for seeking guidance on how to avoid any business violations while still owning a business. Mullin made a good faith effort to seek the committee's informal guidance on numerous issues with respect to his family's business. But it was this ad, which ran this spring after he announced his Senate run, that's now triggered an ethics complaint.
Hi, I'm Mark Mullin with Mullin Plumbing, the Red River.
While Mullin isn't seen in the ad, his voice is heard. His Senate opponent claims it's an ethics violation. Several months later, that complaint remains open. In the days before November 8th, opponent Kendra Horn is using the ethics complaint as just one of her attacks against Mullin.
At every single turn, he has violated ethics laws. He's been forced to repay tens of thousands of dollars for using his business to help his campaign, and vice versa. It is an objective fact that he is much, much wealthier now than he was when he went into Congress.
What Horn is also referring to is the $40,000 Mullin had to pay back to his plumbing business in 2013 because of an automated banking error. The House Ethics Committee says they found no intentional wrongdoing. Mullin told me it's an election year, and Democrats have always been upset about him being a congressman and a businessman. Mullin blames the repeated attacks about his business on Democrats who are tired of hearing about Mullin Plumbing on the House floor and in committee meetings.
My employees that I have currently, because I'm still an employer, their biggest complaint that they have about ACA is that their coverage sucks.
More than a year after the sale, Mullin says the decision was not an easy one.
It's part of us, and it's still part of us. Like I said, we're not totally away from it, but there's a lot of pride when you have employees that's been working for you for 20 plus years, and you've seen their families grow, you've seen their kids graduate, you've seen their kids going to college.
He says it felt similar to announcing a death in the family.
I had one employee when we had told the company, or told the employees that we were selling, he came to me and he said, you know, the hardest day of my life was when my father passed away. He said, this is the second hardest day of my life. That employee had been working for me for 24 years. That was tough.
Mullin Plumbing is now majority owned by Center Oak Partners in Dallas, Texas. I reached out to the campaign again about that ad that was posted after the sale, and they specifically told me, simply put, the company had been sold. Covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marin on Fox 23 News.